Hello and welcome to Talking Crit on the Tavern Chat podcast. It's going to be Bad Mike from North Texas RPG Con and myself. Hi, Mike.
Hello, sir. I'm glad we got our figured out. Just because we're so hip that we can use Discord doesn't mean that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean we can actually use it right. I tried to create a Talking Crit room, but we just couldn't get it to work proper. So. Oh well, but now we're here.
Just not. We're here, and we have so much to talk about because we actually had an NTRPG Con this year. Believe it or not, after all the
right.
Sturm and Drang that was going on, we
both in the physical space and in cyberspace.
So we had virtual and we had physical. We had about probably 80 people show up to game in person.
That's pretty good.
Socially distanced. About one table or room because we had a lot of space with not very many people showed up because hotel cut us a deal since nobody was using that space anyway. They let us have all the space.
Right. Oh,
it was a funny sight seeing a whole grand ballroom we have on one side. We had the whole thing there, and there's like 3 tables in there. I mean, we're talking a room that could hold probably 1,500 people. There's like 20. But it worked out great because we had we had to mask up and social distance. So.
Right. Now here's my very important question. Besides the food truck, what food was there?
That was interesting. So there was no restaurant at the hotel. There was no bar. They don't clean your room, by the way. If anybody hasn't stayed in a hotel since COVID, you leave your stuff outside. They do not go in your room and clean your room.
Really? So you got to make your own bed. Oh,
you got to make your own bed, that's a toughie. Yeah. But there was no place to eat there. So we had 2 food trucks. We had a brunch truck. Good. Okay. They weren't there last year, but they were a new one. We had the taco truck from last year, which again.
Right, they were good.
And then one of the NTRPG Con regulars, which I did not know, they actually run a coffee truck. So since there was also no coffee at the hotel, they had the coffee truck. So we were they did some brisk business. So there was a coffee truck, a brunch truck, left about maybe 1 o'clock, and then the taco truck stayed all day. It worked out really good. I ate at both of them probably 3 to 5 times each.
Okay.
Truck was excellent. They had hot dogs, had sandwiches. They had good stuff, and then the taco truck this year actually had breakfast tacos. I don't remember if they had them last year or not. They had breakfast tacos and regular tacos.
Nice.
So that worked out really good because there were no food options, and from the hotel, Eric, it's not close to any eateries except for a Denny's across the street.
Oh,
and they were practicing. And they were practicing, so you couldn't have more than X amount of people in the restaurant at a time. So you couldn't crowd in late at night. You'd have to wait for a seat outside. But yeah, that worked out really good. And I tell you what, it was really interesting because it reminded me of going back to the days of mini cons. You'd have these mini cons, like they have some of these comic mini cons. They have like maybe 100 people. They'd show up. There'd be a few vendors. And you mostly just sit around and read comics and talk about stuff. This is back in the 80s. This was kind of like a mini game con. It was 80 people.
Okay.
Everybody pretty much knew each other. There was some locals that came that had never come before, but it was just back. There really were no special guests. Diesel drove up from Austin.
Nice.
Matt Finch drove up from Houston. That they were both there. So it wasn't really a lot of big names or anything. It was just everybody just kind of hanging out and being grateful to be out of quarantine for the first time in 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Masks were still worn. The place, we had lots of cleaning. That they were very good about keeping the place clean. Obviously, we had sanitizer, which still have some left over for their own sanitizer. Oh, and there's one from last year too.
Nice.
And it worked out really. For what it was, it worked out really good. Doug lost a little money, but we actually made quite a bit of money in the auction. We had the auction Saturday, and it worked out really good. We had a couple of out on us. That was because we actually had loaded up the Twitch channel. It was too full. We started it out on Discord, and we filled up the channel, and it crashed.
Nice.
We switched over to Twitch, and we made about $8,000 in the auction, which basically covered what Doug would have lost because of the convention.
Okay.
So that worked out really, really well. Yeah. I'm sorry you couldn't make it. I know why you couldn't make it, obviously.
Yeah.
But and to say, you could make it. A lot of other people couldn't make it. We understand. We didn't have a lot of out of towners. Levi Combs flew in from the West Coast. That was probably the guy that came the farthest was Levi. But most everybody was local there.
No, you know what?
I'm
sorry I missed it because I've gone religiously every year. But even before I got hospitalized,
I'm going to give you a pass. You had pneumonia and you almost died. I'll give you a pass.
Well, I had. Let's see. No, I had upper respiratory Con, became pneumonia, became sepsis. Pneumonia came back, and then I apparently retained 60 pounds of water, and had to piss it all out in the hospital, and get 2 procedures, 3 stents the first time, and then come back for a day-night doubleheader. Come back and for a same-day procedure for the 4th stent. That being said, I feel better than I have in I don't know how long. I'm sleeping better than I have in years. So
I'll say you look a lot better than you did a month ago. A lot better. I can tell you that. Yeah, you look like one of the with on the NYPD. Flounder, Officer Flounder. You look like that guy.
Officer Flounder.
It looked really.
No, that was
So that's. I'm glad you're feeling better. I know my brother had his stents put in. He felt better like immediately. I mean, almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I have to go in August for another heart sonogram because apparently, I forget what they call it, but the infraction of my left chain, whatever, was 35%. 40% or lower is considered to be heart failure. So after the 4 stents and the medication, if after 3 months later I get my new sonogram and I no longer I'm above 40%, woohoo! I'm out of that critical range. So that's a win-win.
It's amazing because I remember when I was a kid back in the 70s, we had a open heart surgery, and older man. And he used to work in his yard, and he had like this stitch all the way down his chest. And they didn't have stents back then, so I guess they just cleaned out your artery and just sewed you back up. There weren't stents. He was on his back. He was flat on his back for like 6 weeks. I mean, and then he finally got out and was walking around. But I mean, he was out of it, and I think he only had like 1 artery blocked. This is a guy with 1 artery blocked, and cleaned it out. And he was he had a giant scar, and he was out for half. And here you are,
Yeah, no,
and you're
and it's funny because the 4th stent was delayed 2 weeks because they thought it was going to be a real dinger. Where they're expecting the worst, and then after the surgery, the second surgeon told me in the initial recovery area, is like, Eric, it went perfect. It was not as complicated as we expected. Everything went by the book. I'm like, oh, okay. Thank God.
Well, so I was really glad I got to talk to you last Thursday during the con. We had
that's right.
And we caught up on your health, all the health issues, and about the con, how the con was going. And then I actually had a talking crit Sunday morning early.
I was gonna make that with the stewards, and honest to God, I was still sleeping. I got like 8.5 hours sleep.
So. Hey, you need to rest. That you just got to the hospital that week, but it was fun. We have a tape, we have recorded that up, and we had a great time. And talked for about 2 hours. I think they're the most, besides you, Rach, Liz and Mike may be the most popular couple in gaming.
See, Rach,
neck and neck between you and Mike and Liz.
See, I have the headset on, so Rach isn't hearing the conversation, but. We got the compliment that next to Mike and Liz Stewart, we're probably the most popular couple in gaming.
Wow.
So that's So yeah, they had a lot. We talked a lot. I actually asked him some questions I didn't even know. So yeah, we missed Rach. I mean, she knows we missed her a lot too. We were missing her quite a bit.
No.
We missed a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people that just really wanted to show up that couldn't, and we, I mean, obviously understand why. That's the problem with that. But it was really good in a way because it forced Doug and I. Doug didn't know anything about Discord before this convention or really online gaming at all. I knew a little bit because I've been doing the chat, the Frog God chat. It really forced us to learn a lot. And now, segueing into that, Doug has decided he's going to run a monthly con, North Texas Discord. He talked to a lot of the old school gamers, a lot of the old guys like Steve Perrin, Clark, Jim Ward, and Cask, and said, "Hey, if you are comfortable enough running games online, we'd like you to have you run games online on the North Texas Discord server, and we're going to charge $10 a gamer, and you get to keep all the money because a lot of these guys need the cash."
Oh yeah,
they did not make a lot of money back then. It's gaming, and especially in case of like Jim Ward and Tim, they have been having some issues, health issues. If you're not familiar, Jim is diabetic and he's lost his foot and had some other issues, and Tim just beat cancer, at least for a while. And so we're going to put some money in their pockets. I'm going to, when I find it here, I'll give you the link to. It's on Tabletop Events. Which, by the way, Tabletop Events has been saved for a year. They were going to go out of business, and they're back in business. They did their little convention, made enough money, so they're back. I know not accept the kudos, but Doug was a big part of that. Doug actually spearheaded a lot of that, helping them get back. They were pretty much ready to give it up, and Doug basically begged them, "Please don't. Our convention is June 1st. I don't know what to do if you're not here." Look, I'll tell you what. I'll give you $1,000 for every month to the end of the year if you stay. And then the guy who ran Tabletop said, "Well, I think we're going to need about $50,000 total." So basically, Doug had pledged, I don't know how much, $8,000, $6,000. They ran Con of Champions online, and they raised the rest of the money. So Tabletop Events is still around. But if you go to Tabletop Events and look up thing that I will tell you in just a second because it just popped off my screen. You can sign up online, and we're going to have games run by in July online by Tim Kask, Steve Perrin, Chris Clark, Alyssa Fadden, Porcorny, Stefan Porcorny.
Nice.
Stefan actually he ran games virtually at North Texas, and up so fast that a lot of people didn't get to play. He felt really bad about that, and a lot of people actually got booted because there was just no room for them to play. So he's committed to running games for us all through July. So if you ever wanted to play in a Stefan Porcorny game, which is quite an experience even online, he's going to be running games all month long. It's called, so if you go to the Tabletop Events and you go to something called roleplaycon.com or roleplaycon, you'll see it there, and that's going to be running all through July, the first 3 weeks of July. And these games will be run by some of the people I just told you. I think there's somebody I left out. Let me see if I can find. And there's one more name there that was running games.
Matt?
I think I got it. I got Alyssa too. Alyssa Fadden.
Yes.
Bill Webb. Bill Webb be running games. Bill Webb's going to be running these games.
But that's good. Now that scares me. Okay. But
if you've ever been to Bill,
I've been to Bill's games face to face.
Yeah.
I'm I'm guessing that John is going to be in the background keeping Bill.
Runs a great online game. Yeah, keep him lubricated.
No, yeah, but just Bill and technology is just usually a bad combination. But Bill is a great GM, so. If you can get into the game, please do so. You'll have a blast.
There's somebody I forgot. Oh, Steve Winter. Of course, Steve Winter will also be running games. And then Scott Robinson, who, along with Dennis Astaire, was co-creator of Buddies and Bros. So a complete lineup is Chris Clark, Alyssa Fadden, Tim Kask, Steve Perrin, Stefan Porcorny, Dr. Scott Robinson, Jim Ward, Bill Webb, and Steve Winter. So if you want everyone to play in one of their games, it's going to the cost is $1 an event, and all the money goes to the people running the game. We don't really get any of that. We're just doing this for the love of the game, which is weird, but it's true.
Good.
But we really we just want people to come there and play and have a good time. And this is something that Doug thought, but I thought it was a great idea for people who Jim and Tim need the money. And we'll be doing this for the near future, probably every month. Having old school games run by these guys.
So that's cool because when I was sick, but not like horribly sick, I was like, oh well, with the COVID, try to organize like every other weekend, get people to run online games. It was a great idea, but I guess when you have heart failure, you really can't get that shit together. So, I'm glad that North Texas is
you missed a lot.
Doing it with notable GMs as opposed to you, me, and Zach.
You have something coming up too. That was my pimp for the week. You've got something also that I want you to talk a little bit about. Having to do with your health issues.
Well, that's the thing, and I really do feel, and forgive me if people think I'm waxing too religiously, but I feel like I've been given a second chance at life, and I owe the community something with that second chance at life, which is to share my experiences and try to, neither Rachel nor I are medical professionals, so we're not giving medical advice. But if I can talk about my diet and give recipes as to what I'm doing and what I'm making, or what I've been doing to lose weight, I've lost 17 pounds since I got out of the hospital nearly 4 weeks ago. Or is it 4 weeks? Or is it 4 weeks ago? But I've lost 17 pounds, mostly because I'm now cooking every fucking meal, and I know what I'm putting into it, and I'm watching the food that gets into it, and the salt intake. And listen, gamers in general, and it doesn't apply to you. Don't think I'm talking about you, but just gamers in general. The stereotype is what? Larger individuals, not necessarily taller, but people that are carrying extra poundage. And I'm not just talking the game books in their backpack. And they took an event like this to wake me up. And I don't want people in my community, my friends, to have to go through what I went through just to wake up. I've already been told by some people, because me and Rich have been doing this as a weekly podcast on Friday nights as part of Tavern Chat. I've had people reach out to me and say, I listened to your podcast and I'm looking for recipes now. Do you have recipes that I could make the pizza or make your meatloaf or whatever you discussed? Because it's not easy, and I'm finding that I'm improvising these meals, so now I got to remember what I'm doing. But I actually paid for a website. It's going to be gamershealth.support. And when it's up and running, I'm hoping this weekend, but of course, it's time consuming to get this up and running. But we wanted to be something that will integrate the blog, integrate podcast, maybe some YouTube videos. Rachel will talk about meditations, even some basic exercises that you can do. Because, again, it isn't just heart failure. Before this, I had really bad I had back problems, nerve problems, and there are some basic exercises that helped me. That I was talking to one of my gamer friends on the phone earlier this week and told him about the exercise, and he's like, "Holy, do it!" I on the phone. He's like, "Shit, I can do this standing up." Yeah, I was sitting down. It's really easy how to tuck your stomach in as long as you focus on it. And you can do that anywhere, anytime. And I learned that in physical therapy. This whole tummy tuck thing, you do it enough, you do strengthen your stomach muscles, which happens to reinforce your back. And it took some pressure off my back. And I just, again, I feel that I owe something back to the community that was very supportive when I was in the hospital, and a lot of kind wishes, and people like Chris Stockgill stepped up to keep the tavern, daily posting going, and I always picked up Sundays. So every Sunday is a Chris Stockgill post, and I believe that Silver Belay are going to be joining. They're going to pick a day of the week, and they're going to be doing gaming content once a week. So it's not just the Gamers Health aspect, but it's just giving back to the community and giving more voices. Once the Gamers Health website is up, I plan on inviting other contributors, whether it's like crazies like our very own Laramie, who is certainly going to be a good individual to throw into the mix with his medical background as a nurse, but others, because the only way you could succeed in this is with other people. I'm succeeding in my diet because Rachel's eating the same food with me. If you're doing it on your own without support, it's harder. So we just want to be able to support everybody, and then everybody supports us, and it makes it so much easier all around. Yes, I feel like I'm trying to preach at church in a way. I'm born again, but I'm born again in a low sodium, controlled carbohydrate diet with exercise. If that makes any fucking sense.
I think we just both got booted right then.
We might have. We had a moment of silence, but I think the internet hiccuped.
That was weird. Yeah,
but
it's messed up tonight.
Yeah, but
boy, it's hiccuping. No, I'm glad you're doing this. I mean, I talk about this a lot. I'm really, when you're younger, you feel like you're immortal, and gamers obviously are not the best. For health, Jim Ward had to. He was booked, I think, for our third convention, and he had a heart attack right before then. That's when they found out he had diabetes, and then he lost his foot soon afterwards. And Jim has been really, really careful what you're doing now, because it's going to catch up to you. And he's, he's not, Jim is not super old. He's in his 60s, and he's had, major health problems the past 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And our hobby is not lent itself to being healthy older people.
No, and
so
in a way,
I wish you luck
like
with this
Peter
stuff.
Pan. Thank you. But we're like Peter Pan. Like, we believe that we're never going to grow up, right? We're still playing games. We still think we can go out and get the Wendy's triple with cheese and bacon, with a large chili and a Diet Coke, because I'm going to be healthy, and that's that we can do that. We can't. With that being said, though, my heart failure doc yesterday at my appointment told me I can go out like twice a month and have like a nice steak dinner with mashed potatoes or French fries. I can even dessert. I don't have to deprive myself. And of course, being me, I'm like, so when can I add wine back to my diet? Oh, you can have wine now. A glass of two a night. You're fine. Just don't drink the whole bottle in one shot. I'm like, oh, all right. Because I have to control my fluid intake. So 5 ounces of wine as opposed to 12 to 16 ounces of beer. I think I'll take the wine for the win. But it's just been a weird year, Mike. It's just been a weird fucking year. I think I can see Mike, but I don't think Mike can hear me. Michael, can you hear me? Yeah, we've been having internet problems. Mike, I see Mike moving around his head. He's talking, but okay. I was like,
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right. I couldn't. Now I can. Now I can
hear me though, for some reason. That's weird. Okay. I don't get it, man. Yeah, the internet's messed up tonight. Tavern chat's gonna be fun tonight.
Listen, we started out with the East Coast server. I went down to the South server. Maybe I'll go U.S. Central for Tavern Chat at 9:00. We'll see if that makes a difference. Oh,
you heard about that? They had that huge T-Mobile out thing that happened a few days ago. That was that was bad, and it was so bad that the Congress is, or the feds are looking into it. That was messed up. That T-Mobile lost service for about 18 hours.
yeah. My son has T-Mobile, and he's like, "Oh, did you get my text message with the video from yesterday?" I'm like, "No."
It's in the queue, probably. It's going to take a while. It's probably in some kind of a queue.
Yeah, it's going to show up like 7 days later.
When you have a major phone service go down, that is not good. That is very, very bad in today's society.
Yeah, and they just merged with Sprint, right? So you would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not good. I'm with Sprint now. That doesn't make me. It was fine though. That was weird. Apparently, was something on T-Mobile servers because Sprint was fine the whole time. I didn't have a problem.
Well, they've merged as
Yes,
companies, but
T-Mobile going down.
They've merged all their stuff.
Been some just really crazy internet. I mean, the internet's supposed to get better, right? Everything's supposed to get more and better as time goes on. How come it's getting worse? I don't get it.
What it should do and what it do is two different things that you want. Oh. Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You still there? Can you hear me? Oh shoot! I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. Boy, this is just messed up.
I'm lighting up on my side.
What the hell is wrong tonight?
Mike is permanently lit up. Can you hear me now, Michael?
I can hear.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
No, this is the fun time.
So a mess. Like I said, Tavern Chat's going to be
interesting.
Interesting.
It will be everybody's, but
so as long as I can hear you, I wanted to throw something out.
Yes.
That I thought was interesting. That until we fade out and then nobody can hear what our opinions are or anything. Did you see the latest Wizards of the Coast scandal this week?
Latest Wizard.
If not, I can summarize it for you if you haven't heard it, because I just got caught up on it today.
Wait. Are we talking about Wizards' latest announcement and how every race can be every alignment, and there's no such thing as revising prior 5e releases to take out stereotypes?
All because this was leaked this week that Wizards of the Coast been accused of pervasive systematic racism for the past couple of decades, and people who leaked it provided many examples. Now, in the end, a lot of most of it's anecdotal, but Wizards didn't really sit there and deny it. And I'll rather than just go over everything. You go online and look up Wizards of the Coast racism or something along those lines. You'll find the communiques. It's both who worked for the company and people who chaired their Magic tournaments have accused them of some really bad stuff. So yeah, I think we're gonna see some really interesting changes. I saw the Wizards jumped on it pretty quick. They're trying to do what they can, try to put that Band-Aid on that wound really quick.
Well, what I saw was what they shared on N-World, which was Wizards' announcement and how they're going to fix things and how they have I forget what they call the editor, kind of like but it's going to be basically a prejudice compliance editor to make sure that they're not using any kind of stereotypes. So, apparently, even with the gypsies, in the they're gonna have.
Oh yeah, they're having to remove They had to remove 10 cards.
10 cards from Match Together.
Apparently, there's not 10 cards. Yes. They would probably remove 10 cards if he was there too. But they're removing 10 cards, and they also said, while you're there, why don't you take these out too? These are pretty bad. And yes, by the standards of today, there's some cringy cards in there. It wasn't just the cards. It was also Black Magic, Black African American Magic Tournament stores have had some stories about how they are discriminated against, and it's pretty rough. I mean, it's tough for a company like that to deal with things that go back decades, because other people might not, when this happened, they might not be there anymore. They may just be dealing with, look, this was 2 people before me that dealt, that had this went on under. But it's interesting that they dealt with it very quickly. They did not deny it, and they have immediately taken steps to hopefully get in line with other game companies. But I'm curious. I guess we won't know until it happens. But I wonder if this is going to be pervasive in the game industry. If
it could be.
Got faced with instances in the past when they did it either advertently or inadvertently racist dictions
or biased.
I mean, offhand, I'm trying to think of there must be something. Other companies besides Wizards of the Coast that have run afoul of this.
Well, Paizo did, kind of. Paizo already did away with races. Yeah. They're now, oh God, I'm not even sure what they call them. It's not even heredity, whatever it's. But they've done. They're both doing away. You can't use the word race to describe demi-humans as a different.
That's it. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? They're probably right. It should be a species. When you think about it, it shouldn't be, racial. It really should be. They're different species, unless, of course, they're able to.
It's just a word.
It's a war on words, but
descriptive word they use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the best word to. I mean, we're talking back in the 70s when that word was chosen. It's probably not the best word now. I don't have any problem with that. With changing it to species or whatever. I'm curious though. I wonder how far this is going to go in the industry, not just with.
Well, what I find interesting, Mike, is that I didn't even realize the root of this. I just saw the Wizards of the Coast announcement that was shared on NWorld, and then they had to close that thread within like 10 comments because it was like, sure it's got to get closed because, and I can understand it because
people can't control themselves.
There's a reason why on Tenkar's Tavern we don't discuss politics, religion, or current events because I don't have the time to be logged in 24/7. Moderating every comment. It's just it isn't feasible.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, you have that going on, and here I'm going to throw a little tidbit in that's tangential, but apparently I just thought it was up here in New York City, but I've been contacted by members of the law enforcement community that are gamers that apparently there is an organized effort for a blue flu for July 4th. And if listeners don't know what a blue flu is, it's when members of your law enforcement community suddenly go sick. And if it is a nationwide blue flu, it's going to be very interesting. So I don't know. But I've been contacted by multiple individuals saying, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, I heard about it because I'm in New York City, and New York City cops talk a lot of crap and never do anything. But to hear about it from down south and other places, I was like, "Ooh, geez." So, yeah, that's just
could be a very
interesting summer.
It is, and what the worst part is, there's no convention to distract anybody. Because usually there's stuff that goes on in the community, and then there's a convention that everything winds down for about 2 weeks before a convention, 2 weeks after, like Gen Con or something, and then it kind of winds up again. And then there's another convention, it winds down. There's no distractions this year. You have Gen Con online, you've got, I guess, Origins online, but
no, Origins
honestly,
online
there's
canceled.
That's right. Oh, I forgot all about that. Yes.
Remember, they canceled it because they didn't have a strong enough statement initially that they were supporting Black Lives Matter, and they had special guests dropping out because they hadn't addressed it. And what's interesting, by the way, is that in 2019 they lost $100,000, and they're only going to lose more without a. Yeah,
all that. Yeah,
they're going to be begging their members to kick in because they're going to be in the red. If you,
and I think what's crazy about this too is number one. I mean, both sides. Number one, why do you care what a game convention thinks about anything? Because I don't care what game conventions think about. Two, how hard is it to issue a statement saying we support Black Lives Matter? Why would that take 2 weeks to do? So both of those, I don't get either. I don't get the fact that that first of all they're even asked for their opinion, and then second of all, how hard is that to give a we support Black Lives Matter, the end, boom, move on. Then I don't know what they did for 2 weeks. I have no clue.
I've got no clue either.
And maybe it's because of what you said at first. Nobody.
Also in the news, Paizo, Lisa Stevens has relinquished the presidency. She's still the chief operating officer, but she's no longer the president. She's going to be stepping back, giving the reins to another because she's been doing this longer than she wants to retire, basically.
Not surprised. Yeah, she's been wanting out of the industry for quite a while, from what I hear from people. And honestly, I think she's in it for a while, and I think she wanted to stay in it until Pathfinder 2.0 was released. And from what all I see and hear, Pathfinder 2.0 was not a smash hit. I wouldn't say it was a total debacle. I mean, I'm sure they sold copies, but
right.
It was definitely not a smash hit. I think she's through it now. She's through with it. She doesn't need any money. She's extremely wealthy, and she doesn't need this. So it's about time for her to step down, turn it over to somebody else, and just blow off into the sunset, basically.
Well, Pathfinder 2.
So, not surprised.
It wasn't what the fans wanted. Pathfinder 2. If you were playing Pathfinder, you like the numbers game, and Pathfinder 2 is trying to steal back the people that walked over to 5e. And in a way, Pathfinder 2 is like their D&D 4e.
Yeah.
The attempt to reclaim an audience, and it's not to success.
It was a shot to try to bring back people that are left for 5e. It was a long shot. I mean, it was a long shot, and all long shots, have a chance of but the chance is very small. And from talking to my friends that play Pathfinder, they just said, you know what, we're just gonna keep playing Pathfinder, the new books. And I just, there was a very little chance it was going to be a huge smash hit. I mean, it was a long shot, and it just didn't work. And the industry just moved on now. It's it's the same way that it moved on when 3.0 came out, 3.5. It's
right.
It's not the big gorilla. It's not the 800-pound gorilla anymore. So I can see, honestly, I mean, Paizo has enough decade. If all they wanted to do was convert everything they had to 5e, they could probably make another few $1 million right there. Adventure path to 5e and just sit back and watch the money, roll in. So that's one thing. If you're a company, what you want to do is have material that you can change. I mean, that's what Necromancer Games has done. Frog Out Games has done. All the Necromancer Games material that was originally printed for 3.0, 3.5, it's all being reprinted for 5e. It's great stuff. It was good then. It's good now. And it's a constant source of money. Someday when there's 6.0, then they'll probably, make, the Tomb of Abasar for 6.0, and it'll do great. So, or Rapanathik for, 6.5 or 7.0. So Paizo is not going to be the mover and shaker in the industry anymore, but they're still not dead in terms of they'll be around for a long time, making a lot of money.
Well, a lot of companies, Troll Lord Games, are taking their Castles and Crusades adventures and converting them to 5e, and it's a brand new market for them. It's like, it's a smart thing to do. Oh, and by the way, since we're talking about 5e, let's just mention there's a humble bundle for 5e I don't have.
Yes, there is.
So you can go right to Tenkar's Tavern. I have it linked earlier in the week. And if you go through the link on tenkarstavern.com, you support the tavern because I get a few coins.
I was going to give the link, I was going to give the link, but I'd rather have you go through, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly what Eric said, so Eric can catch a few shekels there. So. Yes, go through Eric's link, and it goes. There's a lot of Frog God stuff there. There's some Troll Lord game stuff. There's some Kobold publishing stuff there. There's some of the guys that we love, like Levi Combs has some stuff there. Barrel Maze is there by Greg Gillespie, which is probably one of the best.
Converting from OSR releases to 5e is not easy, but going from 5e to OSR, I am not a 5e GM. I can do that on the fly. So if you don't have Barrel Maze complete yet and you want it, I don't care if you're playing DCC, Swords and Wizardry, Labyrinth Lord, Osric, doesn't make a difference. Castles or Crusades, grab this bundle. Barrow Maze just by itself is more than worth it. It's a great bundle. And for those who didn't catch it, by the way, there's also another gaming bundle up there. It's for Campaign Cartographer, the premier mapping software, which is Windows only, and therefore it sits on my fucking shelf because I haven't had a Windows computer in ages. But if you can handle the software, it is probably the best mapping software out there.
Bundle's $15 for $15. The sheer amount of stuff you get's crazy, but just Barrel Maze alone is worth $15.
Yeah,
so
that's
crazy.
You can't go wrong, folks. You really can't. It is simply good shit. Oh, it isn't shit.
Charity. I can't remember the name of it, but the charity is one that helps out bookstores that had issues with the COVID.
Oh God, yes.
Had financial problems. Gosh, I can't remember the name. It's called Book Industry. Book Industry Charitable Foundation. Yes, and that they help out independent bookstores that have had issues with the shutdown. So it's a great cause.
All of them. So yeah, I mean.
Oh yeah, the most independent, I'm sure.
Yeah. Because the big chains, Amazon's pretty much killed off the big chains of booksellers. It's the independents that carry the obtuse stuff, and gaming is obtuse stuff that's going to be out there.
Bookstores you love going to, you want to go to the independents. I mean, that's the bookstores you want to go to. Those are the ones that always have the great stuff. We have a couple of really nice independent bookstores where I'm at, and I have to say I'm kind of sad because I've been to them since the shutdown, and really hoping they're still there when I get back there. I'm kind of worried. Been out of the house that much, and so they're still there, and they've been able to stay alive for the past few months.
Yeah, no, it's the same everywhere. I mean, New York City is pretty much still mostly shut down. Long Island, if I want to get a haircut, I can drive out to where my sister is out in Long Island, but you got to make an appointment. So it's like you can't just walk into the barber like I'm used to doing. You got to call ahead for an exact time, which is kind of like my doctor's appointments. You got to find a parking spot, sit in the parking lot, call, say I'm here, and it's like, okay, we'll call you back when the doctor will see you. There's no waiting in the office, which is kind of better, I guess. So
they're doing haircuts in Texas, but they're not touching your beard because you're a face. I mean, I look like I was General Burnside. I had all my hair shaved off the front. It was long, but I had to finally just take the trimmers and just do my beard myself because they will not do beards. They will not touch your face, which is probably best for everybody involved. But I tell you what, of all the pleasures of finally being out of quarantine, getting a haircut was one of the best ones. I did not know how much I enjoy haircuts until I had all my head.
My mother cut my hair after I got out of the hospital, and I was just like, she's like, I can cut it. I'm thinking, wow, I haven't had my hair cut since right before Game Hole. Yeah, so I would have gotten it cut right when I got back from TotalCon, and that never happened. I was like, yeah, you know what?
You look like a caveman. It was bad. Yeah, that was some bad stuff, man.
Yeah, so now, and I've shaved my beard. I shaved my beard all off at one point, but
Yeah, so you've had a tougher shutdown than I have here in Texas. I mean, we shut stuff down, but it wasn't quite as long or as
Right.
arduous as y'all's. What did you miss the most, or have you missed the most so far about being shut down?
I miss going down to my local pub for lunch. You know, and just saying, and you know, if you are a bar, apparently you can serve drinks to go. So coming back from my doctor's appointment, last week's doctor's appointment, I was out in Regal Park and I'm driving down Queens Boulevard, historically known as the Boulevard of Death, by the way, because this thing is like 12 to 14 lanes wide.
Oh,
Yeah, some areas even wider. And there's a bar out there, Cobblestones, that I used to go to 20 years ago. And I'm driving by it, and I'm like, hey, there's like 5 or 6 people hanging out in front. I'm like, oh, they can serve drinks to go. They took out their whole front window and turned that window ledge into a serving bar. So they're just serving drinks, and everybody stays outside.
nice.
I was like,
Great. New Yorkers, you guys are so ingenious about stuff like that. I have to admire that. That's awesome because that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, that's what I was like.
I miss my wife and I. We go out to eat occasionally, but we've actually developed a system now where we do takeout and we go drive to a park and eat in a park, and we actually quite enjoyed that. So much so that I think we've been in one restaurant since they opened up. We're really still not very at safe necessarily in the restaurant at this point. I mean, we're both older and we have issues, and so as long as we can, keep distance, we're going to. So we still have been getting takeout, just going to the park, and it's been quite nice actually. But I'll be happy to go back in a restaurant eventually and finally eat back in the restaurant.
Well, again, Long Island. Well, my father had an appointment last week. I took him to, and they were allowed now to do sidewalk seating, but it has to be spread out. And unless you have an establishment with a lot of sidewalk space, you're not going to get too many tables out there. But man, it was every available seat was taken because people are dying for a reason to get out.
Sure, yeah. I don't know if it's just Americans or why. I figure we go stir crazy about June, and I was right. I figured once the weather got nice and it was summer, people were just going to absolutely go. And sure enough, they have, which isn't that great, but it's understandable. People are having mental health issues because they're locked up and they don't have friends or family nearby, and they're. I have friends that are single friends that live up in the New York area or the Northeast. All have had it much worse than we have down here, and they're literally going stir crazy because they've been locked up in their apartment or house since March. And
here's the thing: if you live in a house, you probably have a yard or you got more space. As my surgeon and I discussed when I was in for my last procedure, it's like people in apartment buildings or in condos and co-ops. You're on top of each other, especially in the lockdown where you're not supposed to leave your house. He goes, that's just not the way you want to live. I mean, at least thankfully, our situation, it's a 2-family home. My parents downstairs, but we had the backyard. If I want to go out and get a little air and not feel like I'm stuck inside, the backyard is where I'll be. And that is good for your mental health. Yeah, if I was like in a 10th floor of an apartment building in Manhattan, I'd be going stir crazy, sitting on my balcony all the time, going, "I just want to be outdoors, away from a building."
One of my cousins, she has lived in New York City for 20 years now. She lives about a block away from Central Park, and she lives right near a subway stop. And so she doesn't have a car. She just goes, to work every day. She goes on the subway, goes downtown. She's been working from her apartment ever since, and I'm really anxious to talk to her to see how it's been because she is a huge Central Park goer. She goes every day to Central Park and walks around. There's just so much stuff going on in Central Park every day, all the time. And I don't think she's been able. I don't know if she's been going out there or not since the the quarantine. So I'm be interested to talk to her to see what she's been up to.
Yeah.
She lives in a little small apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment, but 2-bedroom apartments in Park are not like 2-bedroom apartments
No.
places. It's like 2 closets. It's a bedroom and a closet. Let's put it that way. A big closet is what it boils down to. So yeah, I wonder how she's been doing. I have not talked to her mom, who's my aunt, so I'm curious to hear how she's been taking the quarantine, because like I said, she loves Central Park. She'll be in Central Park every day.
She's lucky that in the normal circumstances she has that access. And I'm like I said, I'm glad that we have a backyard. I'm glad that I have a front yard. My front yard, I was picking raspberries the last 2 days. So
Nice.
yeah, it's like it's really here. Spring's almost over. We're almost in the summertime now.
It's 100 degrees here. It's summer. It's Texas. It's summer. It's 100 degrees.
Listen, it's summer in Texas, like early May.
Oh yeah, I tell you what really stunk was that the year or the week up until the convention was beautiful, absolutely beautiful in Texas, gorgeous. And the week of the con is the first week we had 100-degree temperatures. It was absolutely miserable, but it's always you're at con, you're inside most of the time. You're not going to really matter. It doesn't really matter what's going on outside,
right?
Yeah, but it was miserable. It was absolutely miserable starting that week. And luckily for gaming cons, you spend most of your time inside. So the only time to go outside was really to go to the food trucks.
So my cat wants to get on my lap, but only if she can walk on my keyboard on my laptop. It doesn't work. I moved the keyboard. She's like, no, I don't want to. Come on, Ash. There we go. Show Mike how beautiful you are. There you go.
Yeah, it's my wife doesn't, so I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So I have a treat for my cat tonight. I have a friend that grows catnip, and she brought me over a bunch of it today. So I'm looking forward to get my cat drugged up tonight.
Oh, that's always fun.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one.
Oh yeah. Well, Mike, do you have anything left to pimp? What's the current Indiegogo for Frog God, by the way?
We have
the July 4th special.
We have a Kickstarter and an Indiegogo. The Kickstarter is Cat's Cradle. It was actually it's going to be paid for with funds that we got from the COVID loan program, and so we're using it to employ artists and writers. Most people don't know, but if you're a small business and you got a small business loan, you have to spend 75% of that on your business. You can't just stick that money in the bank and say, "Oh, I just got a chunk of money." So basically, we came up with this project to help employ people in the industry. We make sure everybody gets paid, out of the money of the loan money for the COVID crisis. But yeah, it's a Lost Land city. Getting some stuff for it. Ken Spencer, some of our best writers are going to be on it. We got some really good artists because we're buying art for it, and it's going on right now. I think it's got about 2 more weeks. And we also have an Indiegogo, Dawn's Early Light, which is a quasi 4th of July type of adventure. We're doing these kind of holiday adventures. Last year we did Feast of the Gobbler, which is a Thanksgiving adventure. We did a Valentine's Day adventure this year. We did a Moonglow Glade, which was what was the holiday? It was the Earth Day holiday. I can't remember the name.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a Pex eating.
I can't remember. but Dawn's Early Light is kind of a really interesting twist on the 4th of July holiday, and those are really well for us because they're real well, not just gimmick. They're
well written.
The most famous.
I think James Spahn is the first one, right?
Oh yeah, that was that. His is the first one was the Orca Stole Christmas, which we still get. Lots of people want that today. Everybody just loves it. It's very tongue in cheek. It's a great adventure. It's on sale at the site if you're interested. But yeah, Orcus. James is. He's a bum, and he knows that. But he did good this one. He must have been sober that day, and he wrote something really well. But Orca Stole Christmas is our first one. That was a Christmas adventure, and then we kind of been doing holiday themed stuff, and it's been going over really well. We've actually our Indiegogo's been doing great. A lot of people are stuck at home, and and they are happy to spend $20 on a very well written module and with some great art, and that's what we put out for Indiegogo. So yeah, check those out.
The Indiegogos are, if you're a Pathfinder fan, you can still get those in Pathfinder.
Probably one of the only people, if not the only company still publishing Pathfinder 1.0. And yes, all our Indiegogos also come in a Pathfinder version. So we have a lot of very loyal Pathfinder fans that buy every one of our Indiegogos because they can get new Pathfinder content.
You see, we don't lead you wrong. We sent you in the right direction. Well, yes. We got Tavern Chat in 30 minutes, so I'm gonna say we should call this. And I'll pour myself a glass of wine for the chat. Oh my god!
Oh, let me see. I don't for the chat. Oh, what is this? Bottle of bourbon. I think I may just.
Okay, yeah. You might have a little bit left in that bottle.
Yeah, I think I'll take a little taste for the chat. I feel bad. I've missed the last few chats for one reason or another, so I'm actually gonna chat tonight. So, out 30 minutes, sir.
Yeah. All right, folks. As always, thank you for joining us. As I tell everybody, every episode I do this podcast, maintain your social distance, 6 feet, wash your hands, soap and water or Skell gel, 20 seconds, wear a face covering, common sense, rules of the day. Stay safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. And God willing, I'll talk with you all tomorrow. Later, folks.
Later.
Yep.
See everybody in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Woohoo!